Hi, in this particular video we're going to be actually looking at the sine rule. The only difficulty with this type of video is that actually, although I've said it's the sine rule, in all reality you're not going to get that piece of information, but you're actually going to get the problem, and it's really down to yourself to kind of figure out that it is the sine rule that it is that they want us to use. Now the reason I know that it is because the sine rule says A over sine A equals B over sine B, which equals C over sine C. Okay, so what I can use is any kind of four of those, and providing I know three things, which I do in this particular case. I know two angles, so I've got the sine of the angles, and I know one of the sides, so I've got one of the sides. Providing I know 3 out of 4 things, then I can work out the fourth thing, which in this particular case is the length AB. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just for the sake of the video, is I'm going to keep the same designation as that being A, and that means this side then will be lowercase a. Okay, this is going to be, I'm going to keep it as C, which means that the length AB, which is what they're asking us to do, is going to be lowercase c. Okay, so what I'm going to write on here is going to be A over sine A equals C over sine C. Now, just incidentally, you can flip this sine rule around if you wanted to. So if we were looking for a missing angle and we had access to 3 other things, then you could write this as sine A over A equals sine C over C. Likewise, I could have chosen, if I'd wanted, to change this to a B and change this to a B and just made it A over sine A equals B over sine B. Okay, all of that said, I just thought it'd be easier to keep it as the designation on the actual problem itself. Okay, so let's fill in some gaps. So I've got now A is going to be 54 and sine A is going to be 74. So I've got 54 over the sine of 74, and that equals C, which is the bit I'm looking for, divided by the sine of 38. And really it's just a case now of manipulating this equation to get C to be the subject. So if I multiply both sides by sine 38, I get sine 38 times, and I can put this into brackets if you prefer, sine 74 equals C. Okay, once I pop that into a calculator, I should get my value of C as 34.585, which equals C. And actually, that is the length AB, and that answers the first part of the question. Okay, so this would be 34.586. Okay. Let's have a look then at the area. Now, the interesting thing with the area is that the way they've given the angles, what I need to get is actually this angle, because the equation I'm going to use is area equals a half AB sine C. Okay, so this is what's known as an inclusive angle formula. So in order for me to calculate that, I need to know this length, which is A, which I've got. I'm going to call this B, which I've also got. And then I need to know this angle. Well, it's fairly straightforward to work out this angle because we know the internal angles in the triangle add up to 180 degrees. So if I add 74 plus 38, I'm going to get 112, and then I've got 180 minus 112 will give me this value of the angle, which is 68. So in other words, this angle here is 68 degrees. Okay, so now I've got my inclusive angle. I've got my length here, my angle, and then my length here, and that will allow me to pop this information straight into this formula, and it'll give me the area of the triangle. So the next little bit is I can say a half. A is 54, B is going to be, as I worked it out, 34.585. Now I know it says C there, but just Otherwise, we're going to end up with quite an untidy diagram, but that's going to be b, and then multiplied by the sine of 68 degrees. And again, put that into a calculator and you should end up with 865.7996 meters squared. Usually these sorts of questions, it'll say give your answer correct to 3 significant figures or 1 decimal place or something like that. I'll put this to 1 decimal place, which is going to be 865.8 meters squared, and that would be the answer to 1 decimal place. Okay, I hope that's been okay for you. If you're not sure about anything, please do add a comment below. I'll always come back to you, and I look forward to seeing you inside the next video.